as if they were filmed. Would this technology bring people closer together, helping them understand each other better? Or would it create new problems like the inability to go off the past or risk of memories being altered? The idea of capturing every moment perfectly sounds incredible, but perhaps forgetting is just as important as remembering.
Very poetic, Alvin, but we need a thesis statement. Okay, so what would you like to say, Alvin? You would say, in this essay, I would like to explore artificial memory or human memory. What do you think?
Human memory.
Or Alvin, maybe what do you think? I'm going to ask you this. I'm going to leave it up to you because what do you think, Alvin? Do you like that?
Uh, I think I have some like I did I did the statement.
Okay, give us some ideas. Alvin's
Um,
ideas.
I did is this essay will explore the potential benefits and drawbacks of memory recording technology.
Nice. Potential benefits and drawbacks.
Of memory recording technology.
Nice. Alvin, I think that's pretty good. That would be your thesis. So you got it. So you understand how to do it. I was just enjoying, Alvin, to tell you the truth, I was just enjoying your phrasing is quite poetic. You're a fine writer, Alvin. So thank you for that. So Alvin, you did what I wanted. You got the thesis here. Very good. Let's take a look at one more, okay? So I'm going to stop that share. And let's see. Tron has this interesting rodent. I'm laughing. Some students have interesting avatars. We have a rodent staring at me here. Oh no. All right. Let's take a look at another one from our homework files. Anatron, I have this. Let's take a look here. And I'll use the Microsoft. I converted this to Microsoft for Anna. And one moment, let me get this here. Oh, yes, I really liked this one, Anna. And I have to tell you the reason why is because I was watching a podcast through YouTube and they had actual recordings from 5 years ago during the COVID, how confused people were in America. People doing voice recordings for a podcast show. And it was a really fascinating historical document for me to listen to people, how confused and how upset people were, angry people were, how nervous people were. So when you wrote this, Anna, I was really impressed by this because it's what I was thinking about 5 days before you submitted this homework. It was like, oh my gosh, this is exactly what I was studying. It's kind of long. Would you like to just read the first paragraph, Anna?
Đọc lại coi.
Like, would that be okay? Actually, let's do all of this here.
When the melting low, 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 low.
I'm sorry.
Okay. Oh, your microphone's on. Okay.
Are you able to hear me now?
Yeah, we're good now.
Okay. The COVID-19 pandemic from 2020 to 2023 posed serious challenges to the world's nations, describe some of the more significant challenges, and determine how successful nations were in addressing these challenges. In March 2020, coronavirus disease 2019, COVID-19 was officially declared a pandemic by the World Health Organization, WHO. From there, the entire world experienced a massive transformation in virtually every aspect of life. This essay will discuss the major challenges posed by COVID-19, particularly in the healthcare sector, followed by the responses of leading nations during the early phases of the pandemic.
Really nice, Anna. So clear what the thesis is going to be. It's going to be an analysis of response to COVID by nations around the world. Excellent. And then Anna did that. Anna, are you actually using this in your research?
Yeah, this is actually a part of in the reference part, in the reference section. I read a lot of articles
Mhm.
on this topic, and I want to include some graphs to my
Mhm.
essay to make my evidence more clear.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's actually part of another article.
Okay, that's fine. I like it because it's so comprehensive. It's really wonderful. Oh, Anna, did you see I put this word? This became my favorite, one of my favorite words in graduate school from my own essay writing. Concurrently. And I almost thought, is this really a word? Meaning two things happening at the same time, two events are concurrently happening. And then I researched it, and yeah, concurrently is a real word. Sometimes I would guess myself because I did graduate school many years after basic college. So yeah, our hint to all of our students tonight, concurrently is a great word to use. It's when two events are happening simultaneously at the same time. Concurrently. And that was, by the way, Anna, that was one of the few corrections I made because this was written so well. All right. This phrase is used a lot. Had yet to be launched. Had yet to be. Anything with had yet to be is a safe phrase to use in academic writing. Had yet to be. Like our expectations had yet to be realized, and then blah 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 happened. Okay. So
Yeah,
had yet to be.
yeah, I confused with the words yes to be.
So, yet to be launched. Very good, very good. And then more data, more charts, and then a wonderful collection of references. And these references are really important. These are comprehensive references. Tonight, we're going to use abbreviated references for our class. It's kind of a lot of topics to cover. Let me just check the chats to see if anyone, let's see. There's really interesting notes. Huey, what is the good idea for Alzheimer's disease? Was it perfume as a response?
Oh, I mean the artificial memory, like
Oh, okay, referring to Elvin's paper.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
it's a good cue for Alzheimer
Uh-huh.
disease. Yes.
Yeah. All right. Everyone is talking about dementia and Alzheimer's recently because it's impacted a lot of people. I notice on social media, a lot of people are talking about it. It's like a hot topic. I think too many famous people and people we know from everyday life have been hit with Alzheimer's or dementia. And so it's causing a lot of discussion. And to be honest, it's like COVID. People are genuinely nervous about this, you know. All right, let's jump into the lesson on outlining. Now, of course, you know how to outline, but again, I found my textbook number 3, academic skills, the one I'm using. I'm trying to follow really carefully. I found this book to have really interesting things about outlining that I didn't know about before. So I stayed pretty close to their idea of outlining. So, but first, I just want to review these prompt points. If someone could read these for us. Lian, how are you today?
I'm good, thank you.
Good, good. I have a review. Could you read this part here?
Sure. Using points from the various readings assigned to this semester, determine the most critical turning points in the evolution of human societies. Human society have evolved a great deal over a long period of time. B, human society have evolved to the point where we are able to live life now than before. C, human society seems to have undergone the most significant changes after the introduction of certain revolution technology.
Very good, Lian. Lian, this is why I really am enjoying teaching Vietnamese students, because I have taught in Taiwan, Korea, and Saudi Arabia. And the students always make the mistake here where it says to live younger lives. You knew how to correct yourself and say lives. They always pronounce it as the verb, like he lives in a big house. So they say able to live younger lives And, oh, no, it's lives. But I don't have to correct our students on that. You just know how to do that. That's an advanced English skill. So thank you, Leanne, for that. Leanne, looking at ABC, what do you think is the best response for this? As a thesis statement to the prompt, like this is the prompt. The teacher gives you the prompt. He says, determine. There's a great prompt statement. Professor says, determine. So A, B, or C? What do
I
you
think
would be?
C.
Human societies seem to have undergone the most significant changes after the introduction of certain revolutionary technology.
No.
Yeah. No, you're pretty close. Let's discuss it.
The
Well,
technology.
yeah.
So A, A.
A is not so good. You can get rid of A. Well, let's discuss B or C.
Using the
I'm
not
going to
sure.
put
I
this
think
in
the
here.
answer B, but I'm cheating.
B, I'm going towards B. Let's ask the other students. Hi, An, what do you think? What do you, B or C on this one?
I would prefer to choose C because it gives more context to the prompt.
Yeah.
Like after the introduction of a certain revolutionary technology,
Mm.
that the B doesn't write about.
Yeah, I like it because it becomes more specific here on right there because of the introduction of certain revolutionary technology. And I believe that's true. Let's go back to what they wanted. Yeah. The professor just asked for the evolution of human societies. He didn't say anything about living younger lives. That's not in his question, or her. It could be a female. So that's not what the professor is looking for. So we're going to take away B, and it gives us C as probably the best response. Human societies seem to have undergone the most significant changes after the introduction of certain revolutionary technology. And then you list the technology. Looking at this question where the professor wants you to determine, this would probably be on a final exam question, but it also could be that the professor gives you 4 or 5 of these questions and you have to submit like a 3-page response for each of these, what's called a take-home exam. So it can be either a take-home or in-class exam question because he's using that prompt, determine. And that is a wonderful response. So thank you for that, Anne. You got it. You got it right on. Okay, thanks.
You're welcome.
I'm on. Would you like to read this one here?
Me, right?
Yeah.
The lectures in this course have thus far focused on the 30 articles in the UN Declaration of Human Rights and the historical basis of each. Select one of the declaration's member countries and describe the challenges it faces in trying to uphold the human rights standards outlined in the article. Determine how close the country is being a model human rights state. A, Sweden is the best country in the world because it perfectly meets all the UN's standards for human rights. B, no country is a model human rights state because every one of them have faults in their treatment of people. C, the United States falls short of meeting achievement of the UN's standards for human rights.
Yeah, now this one's a little more challenging because if you look at number 1, the person throws an opinion in there right away. But do you know this term? This, I'm having difficult with this. And then this too. Okay. I'm looking at these two, kind of strong statements to make, like a lot of opinion. And because it meets all the, okay, to be the best country, you meet the UN standards for human rights, and then you're the best country. Well, what if you're a country that has bad health care, but you're good with human rights? So I'm thinking that's not the best answer. Let's go down the line. Let's get some more possibilities here. Let's see. Mr. Henry, what do you think? I'll give you a choice, B or C.
Wait, do you call me?
Yeah. So, Henry, for B or C responses to start working on this question on human rights, what do you think is a better choice? Now, I can see the answer, but I'm going to keep quiet. See if you can get this.
C.
C, yeah. Surprisingly, C, this, Ben, it's really good. Henry, it's good because it looks like it's an opinion, right? The United States falls short of meeting a number of the UN standards for human rights. It doesn't say this is good, this is bad, this makes America a weak country on human rights. It just plainly states the US falls short on a number of human UN standards. And then you can actually begin to detail the areas where America is short or falls short of human rights and is weak on human rights. This question here is a little bit too powerful because every one of them has faults in their treatment of people. It's too simplistic. It's too vague. I don't really like it. No country is a model for human rights. Well, you're giving an opinion right away, but not really addressing this series of lectures on human rights. So C, you're absolutely right, Henry. It comes very close to addressing what the professor is asking for. It's another determined prompt from the professor. Okay, nice work. Really nice work on that, Henry. All right, any questions? Those are just warm-ups from last week because going from prompts to thesis statements is challenging. It's not easy. Okay, so tonight, Hyan. Hello, Hyan. Go ahead.
Yes, I have a question related to what is different between an opinion and a fact.
Opinion and
A fact.
advice?
No, not an advice. A fact. For example, like a fact. It means that a truth, opinion, or facts.
You mean fact? Fact.
Facts. Oh, facts.
Yes.
Oh, opinion or facts. Yeah. Opinions have more of the person's subjective experience, feelings about something, but there's not much support for them, Hyan. They're just kind of real general statements that leave the listener or the reader of your work wondering, well, that's your opinion, but how are you going to support that? Do you have any support for the fact you say, oh, that group of people is generally pretty lazy? They're not well respected. Okay, well, why do you say that? You know, it leaves these questions. Why do you say that? And you say, that's your opinion. You need to support it with facts. But Hyan, if you use facts, for example, if you say East Africans have a higher incidence of I don't know if I'm spelling this right, sickle cell anemia demonstrated by several case studies. So that's a real factual statement because you start out, you say East Africans have a higher incidence of sickle cell anemia demonstrated by several case studies. And this shows that you can support your statement, not really an opinion, a statement with case studies. That is not just an opinion. You don't say, I think East Africans have a higher incidence of sickle cell anemia. By the way, Hyan, when I say sickle cell anemia, you know what I mean? The sickle cell?
Not yet.
Okay, here, let
It's
me
not
show you that. Yeah, that one's a really good one to learn. Sickle cell, I don't mean to open up like a big topic here for everybody, but sickle, if I spelt it right, sickle cell. Yeah, there it is, sickle cell anemia. In East Africa, researchers believe that it's evolution trying to create a blood cell that is resistant to mosquitoes' malaria. So they think we're watching evolution in progress, but evolution is not perfect. It makes a lot of mistakes. So these sickle cells make people really weak and tired their whole lives. And you see, these are the sickle cells. So it has a much higher incident rate in East Africa because of the high amount of malaria from mosquitoes in East Africa. Let me see, geographic distribution of sickle cell anemia. And from my high school years, I do believe, yeah, there it is. The Congo in Africa is really bad. And then here in East Africa are some of the worst places of sickle cell anemia. And that map shows the distribution there, anemia. And there it is there. Okay. But interesting, also in India. Haha. Incidences in Asia, almost nothing. So it's happening here in Africa, but sickle cell anemia could be seen, you know, if somebody said, well, isn't that assigning this disease to race, to Africans only? Shouldn't you be sensitive? And then you say, no, this is not an opinion. This is based on a geographical survey with case studies and medical research that we can show that in the Congo in Africa, and also here, I believe this is Ghana or Liberia, that the incidences are really high in those states. So you can actually provide the data. Okay, does that help? That you can always support facts with data. Opinions, be more careful with. If someone says, that's only your opinion, you say, well, I have data to show it, right? So you can always come back with good data. Okay. So this is the outline that many of you know. The main argument supporting, let's see, tonight we will focus on making the outlines. When making an outline, be sure to include the thesis statement here. Full sentence style for the thesis statements. The main argument supporting thesis, also full sentence style. And finally, the supporting points under each argument, bullet points are okay underneath here. So what this looks like, this just goes on and on and on. Thesis, main argument 1, 2, 3, with about 3 supporting details at the minimum if you can. More main arguments as required to make the essay complete, meaning the essay sufficiently answers the question. So in our textbook example, there are just 3 main arguments to support a thesis, but I put more main arguments if your research project is much longer. You could have like 20 main arguments for something, I suppose. Okay, so this is the 1 paragraph essay prompt we used last week. Let's use it again. We'll review it. I'll let somebody read this because I'm having a little bit difficulty with speaking. I'm drinking hot tea tonight. Let's see, is Loy there? Loy Vuduk, are you there? But talk to Loy Vuduk. That's an interesting name. Loy Vuduk, are you there? Huh, okay. How about Duong? Are you here, Duong? Duong Trong. Is Duong Trong here? Oh, some people are muted. Oh, I don't know what's going on. How about Tintin? Tintin, are you here?
Yes.
Hey, Tintin, how are you?
I'm fine.
Good, good. Is it spring in Germany yet?
I'm a little tired because yesterday I did sports and calisthenics the whole day.
Oh my gosh, are you sore?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Tintin, can you read this here? Many governments, and I'm going to give it just a color blue so it's easier to see. Okay.
Many governments, for a variety of reasons, are seeking energy sources which can help them curb their reliance on fossil fuels. Assess how much countries should rely on nuclear energy to help meet this goal and their energy needs. Be sure to discuss matters of concern regarding energy use, such as cost and environmental impact, and make comparisons among various energy sources regarding these. Include statistics from a variety of sources to help support your position.
Okay, so this is definitely not an exam question. This is a full essay question that you're going to have to probably spend about 8 to 9 pages on as a final essay for your professor. Tintin, Tintin, can you read the possible thesis that I put in red?
A possible thesis is, despite fears over its safety, nuclear energy still seems to be the only option to sufficiently meet the demands of an increasingly energy-hungry world while limiting damage to the environment.
Very good. So it's a really good, concise, or efficient thesis from this prompt here, starting with this prompt. It's just a wonderful thesis. It's clear. It's efficient. It's economical. You could even call it economical. By the way, this prompt is going to be used again and again in the textbook. So we'll see this again a few times. Sorry they keep using it, but they really want to get this prompt to show how it can produce good results in your academic writing. So to answer this question on the thesis in a final essay for a one-semester course, about 8 to 10 pages of essay response will be required. To meet this demand, the student created a research list. Let's take a look at this list to help us in the exercises. Again, this comes from the textbook. I found this really useful. I didn't make a research list when I was doing my master's thesis, and I really wish I did, because there were times when I would put a quote and I would say, where did I get this quote from? I took it last month, and I would spend 30 minutes looking for a quote. It became very frustrating and very tiring. So this is excellent advice to create a list, a research list that you just keep on your word processing on another page. So this student wrote nuclear, 13. Let me read these quickly because these are all kind of jumbled up, mixed up like a puzzle. Nuclear, 13.4% world energy supply from a 2011 Key World, page 24. Nuclear energy preferred in Asia by Chong and Thomas, page 26. 301 new reactors under construction, planned and proposed. Asia nuclear energy. British Energy Torness nuclear reactor CO2 emissions equal 5 grams per kilowatt hour. Coal plant 900 grams per kilowatt hour. That's from Environmental, a magazine, I guess, or journal, page 6. Nuclear reactors, greenhouse gas emissions lower than wind, solar, and power, Technology magazine. Just an article, no page. By the way, the pages are really important too. Pages will save you so much time if you quickly put down the page, then you can quickly find it. Solar, 1 hour of sun's power equals human energy needs for a year. That's from Solar Power, another magazine. If innovation increased, solar can produce more energy. That's Tanaka. Solar is his article from Tanaka Technology. Maybe that's a book. I don't know. The book wasn't clear what that is. So here's another note. It's a little bit longer. After Fukushima, suspension, canceling new nuclear power plants, merely a knee-jerk reaction to stifle growing public hysteria over nuclear safety. That's Kimura on page 31. Chernobyl, 1986, 31 immediate deaths, other radiation-related deaths later, several sources. Fatalities of coal extraction, 20,000 hydropower, 30,000 deaths, Nuclear Energy Agency data. Nuclear, 2.4 cents. I'll just keep going on and on and on. But you see, these are just quick notes where there is a lot of data to answer this original question from the prompt. That we were going to use all of this data. This is going to be a real data rich essay. It's going to have a lot of data. Now, does that mean you have to do the calculations to provide a quantitative essay? No, in your thesis, it is possible. You could write as a note, you could write, this is combined qualitative and quantitative essay. Okay. Qualitative, you're going to discuss it, but quantitative, you're going to use a lot of data. When I was writing my master's thesis, I was really nervous about this, if the professor would accept that. And then he said, of course, Brendan, so many essays are qualitative and quantitative. It's okay to mix the two. Okay, so then this is all the data. Okay, so from this possible list of research notes on nuclear energy, here are some points a writer could put in an essay. Let's put the supporting points into the main arguments they support in an outline. Notice how some of these statements are so brief that they can be a little confusing. For example, number 2 here. And this almost feels like the opinion. Hyan, you said, well, what's an opinion or what's a fact? This almost reads like it's an opinion, right? Some think not safe, but unreasonable. Others, I read this note and I really didn't like it, even though it's in the textbook. I would put, but this is. I think that's better. Some think not safe, nuclear is not safe, but this is an unreasonable argument. Other energy, more deaths. And what that is, if you go back, other energy, more deaths, that's just a quick note that the person took when he was talking about the number of deaths. And you could do Chernobyl, only 31 deaths, but other radiation, it could be much higher. Probably this connects here. Let's quickly look for it from this person's notes. It's the one where it said, I'm a little bit confused myself, just looking for it. There it is. It's a thin note right there. Fatalities, coal extraction, 30,000 deaths. Okay, so Chernobyl, 31 immediate deaths. So that is something not safe, but this is an unreasonable argument. So that connects directly to that research note. Okay. Building nuclear power plants is expensive, but over time it is cheaper. And so this goes directly to here. Next. Production of nuclear energy is constant. This one is, again, it's the word I want to use, ambiguous. What does this person mean by is constant? Well, what do they mean by that? If we go back to our research notes, where do we see constant? Production of nuclear energy is constant. What does that really mean? Do they mean that solar power has days where it's too cloudy and you can't make solar power? The explanation isn't really good there. So this I'm not, I don't think it's just a very good note to take, right? If you were to write is constant, maybe that's better, okay? Emits low CO2, yes, that's nuclear, doesn't have CO2. So quickly we go up and we find out the CO2 is in one of these. Greenhouse gas emissions lower. So we find that in our research notes as well. Okay, so goes on and on and on and on. But here's the sample outline. Now I went through all of these, and each of these are going to be put into this thesis is here, and main argument. On behalf of nuclear power, one benefit of nuclear power is that it is much cleaner and safer energy source than fossil fuels. Supporting points. Can you pick at least two? When I went through these to prepare for your lesson, I found for this one, I'll tell you the truth, I only found two supporting statements from here. Okay, so would you like to try this as a class? So you each get a chance to speak more. Let's see, I'm trying to still find some students here. Hui, are you there?
Yes.
Hey, Hui, how are you
Yes.
today? I didn't ask how you are. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you for asking. Yeah,
Good.
everything's fine.
All right. So Hui, we have this main argument. One benefit of nuclear power is that it is a much cleaner and safer energy source than fossil fuels. Can you come up with two supporting points from this list?
Sure. I think for cleaner, we can just go for the emit lower CO2.
Great. Let's call that point A. Emits lower
Lower CO2.
CO2. Thank you.
And for the second point is safer energy, you can just relate to the number of accident or number of death relating to
Yeah. Very good. Can we find any more? I couldn't find any more, to be honest. Can someone find a C maybe? We have safety and clean. So do you see, I could only get an A or a B there, right? It was a little bit unsatisfying because I thought there would be at least 3 supports, but we could only do an A or a B here, right? If you want to come back, we can come back to it. Anna Tran, would you like to try this one? Argument number 2. Another appeal of nuclear power is that the cost of production is extremely low for such an efficient energy source. So I'll go back to the supporting points. Do you know what? Actually, I'm going to put them in here. I'm going to have to destroy my teaching notes for tonight because I'm going to paste these in here, Anna, so it's easier for you to see. Okay, so here I'll paste. Okay. And I'll make them blue so they're easier to see. Okay, what do you think, Anna? Supporting points for the appeal of nuclear power. Cost of production low.
So the nuclear power plants cheaper over time. Yeah.
Okay. A nuclear power plant's cheaper over time. And another one for B. For
cheaper than natural gas and oil.
Yeah. And can you find a third one?
And I think also like another supporting point is production of nuclear energy is constant compared to solar power.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think we could put in parentheses more reliable. That's what I think what they mean by constant. Nice work, really nice work. Hey, let's give one to Lian. Would you like to try number 3? And then I'll put this list again. I'll put it a little bit closer. Because then it's easier to see. And I'll put it here. Okay. So Lian, what do you think are some supporting points for this statement? Another reason nuclear power should be a significant part of the world's energy supply is its reliability.
So nuclear energy, the reliability of supplies.
Okay.
Emit low CO2.
Okay, let me see. Well, yeah, I mean, if you changed it to read.
Reliable.
But, you know, I've kind of changed that a little bit for you, Lian. It reliably emits less CO2 or constantly. But, you know, I'm changing that a little bit.
Production.
Okay, there's one more.
Renewable energy had potential, but not enough.
Okay.
Erratic supply.
Oh, sorry, here, this was A. I made a mistake. One moment, please. A, reliability of supplies. A. And then your second one, you want to do reliably. And then C, one more time. Can you tell me that one more time, Lian?
I'm not sure, but I think renewable energy had potential, but not enough. Erratic supply.
Nice. Very good. So you got that one. So yeah, arguments 2 and 3 were easier to do because they had clearer supports. It's just that first one I describe as a little unsatisfying because we could only find 2. I always was told in high school and college to have at least 3 supports, right? So is it as much cleaner and safer energy source than fossil fuels? less CO2, number of deaths is lower. Honestly, I don't know what the third one would be, right? Okay, and we would have to make up our own. Now, the important point is that if you look at this list of these, I think there are 9 of these, or let's see, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 9 of these. All 9 of these come from the student who wrote this. These are their notes. All of this comes from their notes. Now, interestingly enough, the textbook we're using gives the final essay on how to answer this prompt. I was really surprised by that. Remember, the original prompt was these 2 things. I'll go up here. This was our original prompt from the teacher in blue, and then this is the thesis that the teacher wants. This is the thesis the student responds with, is the red. This is what the professor wants. This is the response. Now I'm working on this. I've been working on this afternoon, but I became busy preparing for the other class because the students are mostly primary and secondary school students who have really busy school weeks. So they do their homework at the last minute. It's so fine, they do good quality work, so I'm not too upset. But they hand their essays in the 2 hours before they're due on Sunday afternoon. So I was checking them. In the textbook, there's a full essay, and I started writing this. I could only complete half of this, though, because to tell you the truth, it's a lot of writing, and I'll show it to you here. So in the textbook, they actually provided an essay to answer the essay prompt. And as you see, it just keeps going on and on and on. But I'm going to finish this tomorrow, possibly, because I have to teach. This is only 50% finished, and I want to give this to you for your homework, just to read the essay. You don't have to do any writing this week, and I'll have this ready for you tomorrow, Monday. I promise. I'll finish writing it tomorrow morning with my morning coffee, because this is a lot of work. I'm taking this all from the textbook, and I'm not a fast typer. I always did poorly on my typing tests. So I learned to type, but I'm not a good typer. So this takes about an extra hour to get this done right. Hyan, what would you like? Would you like to volunteer to type for me?
No, I just realized that you can use ChatGPT to help you. For example, you can just make photos and then ask ChatGPT to write in the written language, and then because ChatGPT sometimes they read it correctly and sometimes not, so you have to do another task that you have to reread all the facts that ChatGPT just read.
Yeah. I was thinking of doing that. Just read it to ChatGPT. Now, does the free version do that, Hyan?
I don't know. Maybe for 3 versions, you can add 10 photos for yeah.
Alice 12. Hey Alice, how are you? Go ahead, Alice.
I'm fine.
Alice, do you have a suggestion?
What topics are we doing for the homework?
Well, the homework is just to read this, Alice. As I was typing this, I thought, this is really good for our younger students. The other students are graduate students, and they know what this full essay looks like. But Alice, I think this would be really good for you and Tintin and others to look at what a sort of first year of college or even third or fourth year of American Canadian high school, what an actual essay looks like, so that if you have to do an essay, you're not shocked about how much work it is. Alice, when I finish typing this will be about 3 pages in my Apple word processor. And so this really gives you an idea of what 3 difficult pages look like. So to be honest, the homework is just to read this. Do you like that idea, Alice? It's like less work. What do you think?
It's really a good idea.
Yeah. Now, what if your mom says, Alice, do you have any actual writing homework? Can you tell her? I'll tell you what, Alice, if your mom wants you to actually write something, write 1 sentence reaction to this essay. Okay. How does that sound? You can say my impression of this essay, Alice. So it would look like this, Alice.
Wait, how long is that again?
This essay goes on for about 3 pages. And to tell you the truth, it's like 3 solid pages. I would describe this essay as really comprehensive, really well written. Any college professor would love to have this essay as homework submitted. By the way, I only use single spacing on this. So if I use double spacing, this would probably come out to, 5 pages or more. Hyan, what would you like to? Oh, I'm sorry, what was it, Henry?
How many words are there?
How many words? This gets about 700 words per page, 750. So if I go 3 pages, this is looking like a 3,000 to 4,000 word response, Henry. And that's about half of what you would do for a graduate school end of semester paper. It's about what you would do for one college paper. So this is actually kind of an important essay to read for everybody. Hyan, what would you like to say?
I would like to ask, like, why American teacher always ask students to have a left or right?
Have a left or right margin alignment?
No, yes, marginal line, like
Yeah,
left or right.
that's-
Because one time I supported, and then the teacher should give me 1 deduction point because I didn't meet the assignment. But actually, it's a different tab on our writing culture.
Yeah,
So it does a prefer bit or something like that.
yeah. Hyan, I had the same thing happen with my Irish professor. He deducted points because of my formatting, he called it. And I was angry, because they used to deduct points like that in high school. None of my college professors did that. But this graduate school professor is a doctorate from Cambridge University, super intelligent man, but very strict on his formatting. So everybody, what Hyan is asking is, do you see how it's perfectly aligned here on the left? But on the right, it kind of goes a little bit crazy, right? And so, these buttons here, like align right, align left on my pages, right? Let me see where I can get my alignments. That's center alignment. There's that one. Alignments. I don't even, I have to tell you the truth. I don't even use alignments anymore. So on my processor, which is Apple Pages, I forgot how to do the alignments, right? So I just, there's this wonderful British expression, Hyan, I'll teach you it, but don't use this with your professors. They always say, this is so British. Okay, I couldn't be bothered, but that's a secret among students. Don't use that with your professors. It just means it's just too much work, right? I can't be bothered with it. That's very British. Americans and Canadians don't say that. Australians don't say that. It's very, very British. I'm surprised when I hear some of my old British friends in Saudi Arabia, in Taiwan, and Japan, when they use expressions like this. I'm really shocked because America's a really strict culture. Hyan, like your professor said, I want these aligned both on the left and on the right, so it looks perfect, right? So to show you what Hyan is talking about, if we look, Hyan, very interesting. The textbook, and I think you got a copy of this too. Anna, Tron got this, or Hyan got this from, that's the textbook we're using. When I look at the sample essay that I'm actually copying for you, I'm sorry if you can't see it, but it's not aligned on the right, Hyan. I was really shocked. I thought it would be aligned. They didn't align it on the right. So it could be you just have a very fussy professor, fussy old school professor. That was in America, Hyan?
Yes, he's from America, and then he from Chicago.
Oh, Chicago, yes, because that's my hometown too. And Hyan, that's the home of the University of Chicago, which their writing standard is used all over America, is called the Chicago School. That's called Chicago style. And so that's what he is saying. You must align it on the right. Oh my goodness. I'm sorry to hear that. Right.
No, they say that I must align it on the left side. I know,
On the left
like
side.
what you like what you wrote in the paper, but I just do it like two side or like the two side.
Okay.
So they give me 1 deduction point, and then I was shocked.
I don't mean to laugh. It's just, well, you work so hard on these things, and then you get, uh, then you get, then you get points taken away. Let's give everyone a clear shot of what Hyan is discussing here. So I got this off of here. There it is. Okay. Alignment, justification, indentation, perfectly aligned on the left. So Hyan, your essay was aligned, not aligned on the left?
No, my essay was aligned on the left and on the right. It's both sides aligned.
Oh, both sides, this style.
Yeah.
And so he said, don't do that. He wanted it to be this style?
Yes, he said that this is style.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so in Vietnam, you're taught to do this. Is that right, everybody? Anna and Lien, do you agree with this? That this was what you were taught?
Yeah, that's exactly how we're taught.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, because then if you go elsewhere in the world, they'll insist on another style, right? Yeah. So I would say, what you should do if you have a professor, ask the professor, are we going to use the Chicago style where it's aligned on the left, but it's loose on the right? Ask like the first day of class. Ask if the teacher says, any questions? Yes, I have a question. Professor, is this going to be aligned left Chicago style, open on the right? And then that he should give you an answer right away. Okay. All right. Yeah, this is interesting though. The reason why I don't think they like this in the Chicago style is because it leaves words dangling, like the shelves, right? Whereas if you align this style, it allows you to put the most important clause or phrase, and then it resumes here. It's not as disruptive. I think that's the logic behind it, that just the statistically, the number of sentence will get more complete using the align left style. And if you use the right, it's more flexible for your computer writing software. I think that could be the reason they do that. But again, Hyan, these rules for Chicago style were invented in the 1890s to the 1920s. That's when the University of Chicago received millions of dollars from one of the richest families in America was the Rockefellers family, who had all the oil. They started the University of Chicago, and it was such a new, powerful university that they had a lot of power in academics to, insist that essays be written in a certain style. So that's where that came from. Interesting that the APA, some of you know the APA, the American Psychiatric Association or American Psychology Association, that became really powerful in the 1950s, and they're sort of rivals of the University of Chicago style. They're not much different. There's just some small points that they disagree on. Okay, I'll tell you what, we have a moment. Let's quickly check this, because Hyan, this is a really good question, and I've taught you just about everything you need to know for tonight. So let's take 2 minutes and ask ChatGPT this question here. What I'd like to do is this question. Can you provide some brief differences in the APA and Chicago style essay writing? And let's just see this, because this is a good question to ask. APA, right. Oh, hey, this is interesting, because Hyan or Anatron asked me this question last week. Who was that, Hyan or was it Anatron? You asked me this question about citations, right?
Yeah, it's Hyan.
Yeah, okay. So this is the APA. All right. 7th edition, author, date, in-text citation. Example, Smith, 2020. Chicago offers 2 systems. Notes bibliography uses Smith, 45 in a footnote. And I think, Anna, the example you showed me was this one here. It was Smith and then followed by 45 in a footnote. Or was it this one here, Anna? I'm not sure. I don't remember. It was in your question was in Zalo.
Yeah, it is correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they put the date at the end of the index citation.
So it's this one, Haiyan?
Yes, this is one.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so you were correct. It looked good to me. So I said, yes, it's good. All right. I would hate to give you bad advice. All right. Let's see. Formatting. Title page required. Abstract Chicago. Title page optional. I can't find alignments. Let's try this. Let's try that. Okay, left alignment. And so when I was describing it before, where it can be open and flexible, that's called ragged right edge alignment. So ask your professor, say, should I use ragged right edge, flexible, open? And they should understand then. Okay. Chicago also uses. Okay. I think we're going to have to come back to this. Henry asked me about how many pages the essay would be, and I calculated it would be about 5 pages to 7 pages if I put it double spacing, right? So let's quickly look at that as our last thing for tonight. We're running a little late. Sorry about that.
Wait, Mr. Brandon.
Yes, Mr. Henry,
So,
right?
So at my school, they're using the MLA 9 format for the citation.
Okay.
So they are doing the British like curriculum. So
do you have a lot of British teachers at your school?
yeah, they're Irish.
Oh, Irish. See, the Irish use the British system. My family is Irish, so that's why I laugh, Henry. They're just as strict as the British.
Yeah, they're very strict.
So, Henry, if you look at it, what I've done here. Hey, by the way, Henry, if any of those teachers give you problems, say, my teacher is Brendan McGowan. He went to University College Dublin. And then that should keep them.
What university again?
Well, this is actually Cork University, but it's University College Cork, which is the great rival of Dublin. It's a very it's in the top 5% of European Union universities. So if they give you any problems, Henry, tell them to contact Brendan, and I'll put the fear of God into them. All right, Henry, you'll do that. So Henry, taking a look at this, I just switched it to double spacing. So before, I'm only halfway done with this essay, everybody. So far we have 1, 2, 3, 3.5 pages, about 6 to 7 pages total. This would be a good sized term paper for a university essay response. All right. So I will have that done for you by tomorrow. And again, the question is, the homework is just read through this so you get a feel for how this particular student responded to the nuclear energy question. And let me take these out of the way. And Alice, if anyone else would like to do this too, for just a little bit of writing, because this is a writing class. If you want, you could put my impression of this essay. You could actually put that right into Zalo. You don't have to attach a file. Just write what your impression was in a Zalo comment, like a social media chat. Tell me, what did you think of this essay, right? You can give me your critique. And don't worry about the critique, because this essay was in my writing textbook, so I have no personal feelings about it. I like it, but it will be interesting to hear what your impression of it is, okay?
Essay complete.
Yes. I'm sorry, what is it, Alice?
Is this essay completed?
No, this essay needs about 50% more, Alice. It's just I ran out of time typing it today because it was taking hours to do this correctly. It's like doing my own paper, to tell you the truth. I'm copying it from the book. I might try Haiyan's ChatGPT. Hi, Anna, is that ChatGPT? Is it the free version that can do dictation, or do they want me to get 4.0?
I don't know because I use ChatGPT Plus, so.
Yeah. I asked because one of my students in Saturday's class is blind. She can't see. And so she needs a dictation device that works well. And her family can't afford a Braille reading system. It's her dream to have one, but she's an office worker. And so I want to give her a good suggestion. So thanks for that, Hayan. You'll be helping a student who can't see with your.
Actually, I know one Russian ChatGPT is free that you can just upload it. Maybe you can try it, but maybe it's not as correct as ChatGPT version. But you have to read it. I can give it to all of you so that you can try.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, I'd like to try that. All right. I don't mind, writing it with the textbook because then I get to critique the person who wrote this. I get to go through the authors of this book. There's Peter Chin, Samuel Reed, Sean Ray, and Yoko Yamazaki. I actually get to critique their work to see what they think is a good essay. So it's, if I go slowly and type it all out, it's a good exercise for me, the teacher, too. So I don't mind, if it's taking a long time. But I promise I will have that ready for you on Monday, tomorrow. So check Zalo tomorrow and you will see the full essay. I'll put it in a PDF file and a Word file for you to read. Okay. And you don't have to edit it or anything. Just read through it and see. Okay. And I will make copies of tonight's lesson also because then you can see where I got those research notes from because they're used in this sample essay I'm going to give you. All right. Thank you, everybody. Sorry if it wasn't the most exciting class tonight, but we really had to study those outlines as best as we could. Thank you to the students for giving me your input. I really appreciate that. Okay. So can I say goodbye to everybody? Goodbye, Louis. Good to see you. Bye-bye, Anna.
Bye.
Bye-bye, Ian.
Bye, teacher.
Thank you. Bye-bye, Huey. And
Thanks,
bye-bye,
good
Henry.
weekend.
Bye-bye,
Yeah.
Alvin. Bye-bye, Huang.